Hello and welcome to episode 49 of Rival Banter. I'm one of your hosts, Luke Croft. Joining me, as always, my esteemed co-host, my Scorpio brethren, Seth Martin.
What is up?
How are you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. Just settling in for a long winter's nap, Santa Claus style, or I think it was the dad in that poem. Whatever. You know the one.
Why a long winter's nap?
It just came off the tongue. I'm a tired man.
It's also very spring-like, at least here in Western North
Oh
Carolina.
yeah, 80 degrees here in southwestern Virginia.
Dude, I've had the windows open while I'm working. It's just giving me life. I'm going out on my back porch with my little rolling standing desk and working out on the back porch a little bit. Time change. How do you feel about daylight savings time?
It sucks at the time. So this past weekend I was out of town, and so I happened. It was one of the rare occasions where I was out with a friend late at night, and I found myself at out and about at 2 in the morning, but then all of a sudden 2 in the morning became 3 in the morning, and I was like, oh God. It was like I knew then that my Monday was going to be gone.
Yeah, I'm lucky in that I work from home, and so I don't have to toil with getting up to go to work. I just have to get up to log on. But I'm normally up around 6:30, 7 o'clock, and waking up at 7 and it's still kind of dark outside is harshing my vibe a little bit. But I'm all for it for the extra sunlight we get at the end of the day. So
yeah, big time.
I'm feeling pretty good about it. So you went to the Charlotte FC game this weekend. I was supposed to go, and then woke up that morning puking, which was a lot of fun. So I was unable to attend. How was it?
It was a lot of fun. So I found some new spots to go before the match. This is the giveaway they were doing, the party shirt.
Oh.
You can see kind of the
let's
stuff and the things. Lots of Charlotte-y stuff here.
Yeah, giving you the big. Oh, that's a really cool shirt. Does it feel like it's good material, or is it just one of those like cheap mass produced?
No, I mean it's 100% polyester. It's like it's got a good feel to it.
Good. It's always hit or miss with those kinds of giveaways, and I didn't know how MLS teams were handling their in-game promotional items.
Yeah, they've done a few of these, like different kinds of party shirts. I think they do like one a year. This is my first one, but I am very satisfied.
Very nice. All right, guys, this is Rival Banter. We get together every week and talk about all things Marvel Rivals, then push it out to you guys on podcast services everywhere and YouTube. We're also recording this live over on twitch.tv/itishoagie. And we'll probably keep doing this and kind of develop what this might be like as a live stream show. But yeah. If you want to check us out live, interact in the chat, anything like that, feel free to jump in and check us out. We normally will record on Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So also you can follow us on social media at Rival Banter on Instagram and TikTok, and you can also join our Discord at the link in bio to talk to and hang out with a lot of other Marvel Rivals fans. But let's jump into this week's show, Seth, with some listener questions, as we do every single week. And we're going to start. I don't know why I made these picture so small. There we go. With what is this? Alonso. I don't know what this name is.
Alonso Venegas.
Oh, Alonso Venegas. Okay, I got you. It says, I don't know about that. Talking about my ideas for releasing new characters. Sure, they can do 2 heroes every 2 months, but that would honestly just double the work just trying to balance the characters. Also, they won't ever know if the character is broken or not till they drop them into competitive. Also, only having a new character in quick play wouldn't be good for a gaming experience because a lot of sweats who are normally always in ranked rush over to quick play and dominate it for 2 weeks. Honestly, the earlier playtest might be the only good, viable option here. A lot of alsos in that one, Seth. Is there any particular also you would like to tackle first?
No, not particularly. I definitely kind of I see where Alonso's coming from here. I definitely think that the early play tests, like that's like a clear win. Like that just seems like a good idea in general. I don't know. What do you think about the quick play stuff that Alonso's talking about here?
I don't know, man. Like the idea that I get it that quick play should be this kind of casual, laid back place, but I also think that there are other more casual modes for the ultimately like super laid back players to come in and play. And I don't think that people in competitive are necessarily better than the people that are playing quick play, and there's still skill-based matchmaking happening in those two places. So i I don't know. I think you can suffer a week of some comp players coming to play quick play to learn a new character because they're already learning new characters in quick play probably already. Like that's probably the grounds where they go to do that. So I don't know. I don't see quick play as this like sacred place that has to be protected at all costs. It's okay for it to ebb and flow in terms of sweatiness.
I mean, you know me. I like my games like the sweatier the better. I don't want to just always be rolling. I want the competition. So, yeah, more for me, please.
Yeah, and I don't know but I also get the idea that like you don't truly know the power of a character till they're put into competitive because that's where you're going to get your biggest sample size of games that are kind of played the way that the game is intended to be played. But I think you can
That's
still get
true.
a lot of valuable data from quick play and how a character's performing. I mean, even if it's just like they feel really oppressive or this thing is on too short a cooldown or whatever. Then we have a another comment. This was over on YouTube from Kinds in Cargo, and it says, "Of course, his bush is out," and this is referring to Seth in the last episode. It's just full on out the entire time. Go back and check it out. No,
I
this
don't
is
recall that.
this is actually in reference to the new Captain America skin. Did you see anything about this?
No, no, I did not.
All right, hold
I
on.
did realize afterwards that he's got like some bare skin exposed, like on the lower abdomen or whatever. But I haven't noticed that aspect of it.
Now I'm going to send you this link, and it's going to give you a scary pop-up about it being on an over 18. It's just the Marvel Rival subreddit. I guess this post was marked not safe for work, but let me drop it in right underneath the picture of what we're talking about. Then I'm going to share this out to our audience as well. So this is the picture in question, and this is from Reddit user not you Lakior 4, and it says the new Cap skin has a visible bush. I just felt like pointing that out. Um, I don't know, Seth. Do you think that's a bush or a very precariously placed shadow?
I think it's more. I mean, that's not shaped like any kind of bush I've ever seen.
I don't know.
But
Maybe Captain America has some interesting grooming habits. He was, you know, coming of age during World War II. So,
yeah, but I don't think they did that much of that stuff.
how
You know,
were they shaving bush in World War II?
I feel like I don't know. I've seen like my father gave me a book
Okay, all right.
when I when
Weird
I
start.
became a man,
Okay.
and it was from the 1970s. Like I guess he just had the book and he thought it'd be funny to give it to me. It was called The Art of Making Love or something like that,
Mm.
and it was just full of pictures or drawings of people from the 70s, just like afros down there just going like in all kinds of positions and things like that.
What?
So
Let's
that's
pause
the
for a moment.
70s when that was like the stylistic choice was not to really do anything with it. I feel like people, especially men in the 40s, like World War II era, they were keeping it pretty clean up here, but I imagine they were probably like
Yeah.
not doing too much downtown. It was probably considered like effeminate or something.
What was this exchange like when your father handed you this book? Were there words exchanged?
I think it would
Was
be
it
weirder if
wrapped?
there weren't words exchanged. Just like, here you go. No, I forget all the details. You would think that would be something I could kind of remember, but my dad was a pretty open person about kind of things like that.
I think that's
I
cool.
think he just like kind of handed it to me and was like, this is for you now. Do with it what you will. I don't need it anymore, or something like that. And like it wasn't like a big drawn out speech or anything. Just kind of like a funny, ah, here
You're
you go.
like, Dad, I have a laptop and LimeWire. I am good to go. I don't need this book.
Yeah, I didn't get used much.
Do you still have the book?
I think it's at their house. I think it's like with
Okay.
my books that I didn't take with me here.
You don't
Yeah,
plan on
I should
handing
probably
that
go.
down to your son at some point?
I might. I need to probably give it a second look through and see how
Yeah.
valuable it is now that I've been around for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
You're like, man, the old man knew what he was doing when he handed me this.
That old rascal.
Yeah, I'm not convinced it's Bush, but hey, if in your head canon it's Bush, that's totally fine with me too.
It looks more like just kind of a shadow, or like it almost looks like just like kind of a missing bit of like it's almost like a void
Yeah,
there
like they didn't
where
put
like
a texture
nothing's
there.
animated. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess, but if you want it to be Bush, you make it Bush.
That's right. Ace Kipton over on TikTok says, I think option 3 is the most viable and has the most potential overall, especially if you pair it with an extra ban or two per team. Now, the original comment he left said, especially if you psoriasis it with an extra ban or two per team. And then he said pair weird autocorrect. I thought it made more sense with psoriasis, but pair also checks out. But yeah, he's talking about how he thinks the third option of dropping two characters once every 2 months would be a viable option if they also expanded the extra ban so that if you wanted to ban new characters that were overpowered out. And I think that's actually a really good point, right? If you put two new characters into a competitive mode where your team only gets two bans, you're likely not going to see many more bans outside of just the new characters that got added in competitive.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Then Aiden Heat over on Spotify says possible Thanos kit idea. So Seth, lock in for this. I want you to react to
Mm,
this. I know you're all about Thanos. You like Thanos.
that big purple bald headed bastard. Yeah.
Says start him out normal, only sword. Have his kit progressively upgrade like Deadpool. Slowly but surely, you can acquire the Infinity Stones. Power Stone for increased power, Space Stone to go invisible or teleport, Mind Stone to possibly steal abilities like Rogue, though that seems too OP, Time Stones to slow or stop an enemy like Strange's ult, Soul Stone to maybe apply healing reduction. Can't figure out his ult though. Lore accurate would be too similar to Scarlet Witch's ult. What do you think about that idea?
I think that's our first 7-star difficulty character. If they're able to kind of do all of those things, I feel like they would have to be very, very kind of like stunted, like quick, um, button, like just quick abilities, like that, nothing like too crazy or like that requires too much management. Also, I'm wondering, like, are there enough buttons to be able to pull this off, or would you have to get creative and like come up with button combos, kind of like you're like in Tekken, do like triangle and circle, or something like that? How would that work on PC? So I don't know. I mean, I definitely think it's cool. I think if they were to do this, they would, excuse me, they would have to do something around the lines of the Infinity Stones. That's like a thing that's been done before. Like I'm thinking back to old Marvel fighting games, like Marvel versus Capcom. One of those, like you've got like a big mechanic in the game is like you can collect different stones as you go through like the arcade mode and just like kind of like power up, do different things with them. So I mean, it's been done before. I just don't know how that looks in this game when you have like very specific abilities linked to a character's kit. But yeah, I definitely like the idea. It just seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, I like the idea too. I'm not in love with more characters having this kind of like ramp up mechanic like Deadpool does, but I think if there is going to be another character that would have it, it would be Thanos, because it does kind of match in with the lore of him collecting the Infinity Stones. And I do think, to your point, you'd have to balance them between like passive abilities that get added versus like active buttons that you can press. Like I like the idea that like there's a stone that increases his damage output or something like that, and then one that increases his damage reduction or something
I
like
wonder if maybe you select a stone to use somehow, like a quick select feature somehow, some way, like maybe it's triangle, just like flipping through, kind of like you like with blade, you switch between your sword
that.
and your gun or something, and then you have this kind of like limited ability that goes along with that. It's on a cooldown, then you can change it and use the next stone again. I think that would work a little bit better. Maybe that's even what this person was saying in some way. Or,
Yeah.
I think
No,
it leaves room for interpretation there, right?
yeah, so there's a character in League named Twisted Fate, and he's got kind of that mechanic where he's got three cards in a deck that he can cycle through. So he's got one card that stuns, one card that does like I think burn damage, and then one that just like does like insane burst damage or something like that. But anyway, and you cycle through and you have to stop on the one that you want to select. So you have like an ability that activates the cycle, then you stop it, and then just one
Mm.
button that does the thing with that card equipped. Something like that for Thanos could be cool, where it's like cycling through the Infinity Stones and you have to like stop on one to select it, rather than kind of having them all available to you. Um,
Uh, yeah, I think it could even be like as simple as just like, you have your regular kit is just you with the sword or whatever you call that thing that he has like an end game. Or like, and then you just, when you ult, you pop on the gauntlet and do something with it, like whether it's the snap and everybody goes bye bye like Scarlet Witch, or there's some other kind of like reality altering effect or something. But
Yeah, the ult part is interesting to me. I'm wondering if there's a way that like you gather the stones, and then when you ult, you lose those stones and have to build them back up again. Like rather than it being this sort of mechanic that builds on itself over the course of an entire game, maybe it replaces his ult meter. That like having this thing, having this stone, gives you this power, but and then you're balancing like, do I want to lose these passive buffs that I have to use the ult? And then you can maybe make the ult a little more costly because it's not just or a little more uh because like the snap what wipes out half of the population out of existence or whatever. You could have the stakes of the ult be really high like that if the cost of using the ult is really high,
hmm.
because you're having to balance it more. Whereas it's like part of the trouble in a lot of rivals is just the fact that the ult charge is so easy to get. And so you don't really have to be mindful about when you use your ult because another one's coming right back around. With Thanos, maybe you could add some weight to that decision with that mechanic.
Like, make it very much a slow build, like, maybe you can use maybe this is kinda what are you saying, like, essentially, you have, like, a series of ults that you can choose to use, like, each level is like a stone, and maybe, like, by the end of the round or end of the game, you could charge it up to that final ultimate snap that, wipes a team or kills half a team or something like that?
That wasn't what I was saying, but I like that idea
Oh,
better. Where it's
okay,
like
alright,
you
we just did
because
something
how
then.
many Infinity Stones are there? Five,
6,
six.
I
Okay,
think.
you guys are going to learn here shortly that I have zero Marvel lore knowledge, uh, but yeah, I like your idea better, where like each level is a different ult or a more powerful similar ult, maybe in the early stages you snap and you deal like a 25% true damage to half of the players or something like that. But when you use it, you lose it and have to start rebuilding it. So you can hold it for longer in the game for it to be more powerful as you go on. I think that could be cool.
Yeah, it is 6, by the way. I just had to always, like, forget, like, that there's the one in the middle, and I'm like, "Well, it doesn't seem right," but yeah, it's true. The one for each finger, one in the middle of, like, the fist.
And maybe since it's against 6 players,
Mm.
you know, like, hey, one stone damages one person for 20% of their health bar. 2 stones damage 2 players for 25% of their health bar, and
And
then
then it
scale
kinda
that
has,
up.
like, this, like, strange portal aspect, like, you probably can only use it, like, once in a game, like, depending on,
Mm-hmm.
and, where it's an ult, yeah, it's definitely probably gonna be, like, once per game if you charge it up that way. I like those ideas. I feel like we really made something NetEase. It's time to shine.
Yeah, yeah. Give us a call, Guang Guang.
Mhm.
All right, Seth. We're going to do another blind ranking this week, but we're not going to be blind ranking unhinged gamer tags. We're going to be blind ranking Marvel Rivals controversies. We have been at this game for over a year now, and we've encountered a multitude of controversies throughout that year. We've covered almost all of them. So, Seth, I am going to give you 5 Marvel Rivals controversies from this last year, and you will rank them 1 through 5. But I want you to define how you're ranking them. Like, what makes a controversy a 1 versus what makes it a 5?
I feel like almost all of them are 1s or 2s for me, but, are, like, in just in terms of, like, not that big a deal, but let's go ahead, let's do the thing.
All right, here we go. The first one, the Zaza Kingsman ordeal. Where would you rank that?
Um, I wanna put that as, a 3 because, like we talked about when it happened, and this is out of 5, you said, right?
Sorry, you're not ranking them in terms of you're placing them in 1 through 5.
Okay, okay. I'm going 3 still, like, just kinda middle of the road because I think that streamer drama, that kinda thing is bullshit. Like, who and why do you care who has the time for that kinda thing? But I do also think that it kinda brought again to the forefront, a big deal, like, the ways in which we communicate with people online, especially in games like this, like, it just kinda brought that to the forefront, like, just how toxic people can be when they're playing a competitive game like this, and, you're talking to a human being, that kinda thing, so 3 for me, like, I don't really care much. I think that a lot of it's just kinda dumb, but also, yeah, that it kind of, like, illustrates a much larger issue.
All right, the next one is the Vigilante Justice controversy that we're wrapping up now. We'll cover the end of that story here in the news later on. But where would you rank Vigilante Justice, but putting bounties out for throwers?
I'm gonna go 1, because I feel like it's such a small sample of people that are probably taking advantage of this. And I have not read this article that you found and put in the show notes, just full disclosure up front. So maybe it was bigger than I thought it was, but I feel like it just like a very limited amount of people even know that that kind of thing exists. And so like by nature, it's got to be like not that big of a deal.
All right, so you've used up 1 and 3. Now we've got the summer party price hike. So this was the first event pass that they went from 690 to 990.
2 for me. I mean, because I want to say with that they added more to it. Am I remembering that correctly? Like,
No, I
was
think
it
when we went back and when somebody on Reddit went back and did the math, it was like the cost per item was a little bit more expensive for what was included. But I've always looked at that like $9 for 3 skins, and I know some of the skins are free, but like I don't know, like that Invisible Woman skin that was a part of that pass. Was it Invisible or a Woman or Luna that was a part? I think it might have been Luna, or maybe it was both. I can't remember. Anyway, like
Mhm.
one of those skins alone would have been close to $30. So
Yeah.
990
I
for 3 skins.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at, and plus too, like I feel like they do a pretty good job. Like I don't. I don't know. I feel like there's sometimes, at least for me, passes that I don't feel like I need to get because I don't really play many of those characters, or I just don't really care for the skin. So like, there's nothing that says that you have to um, get that. And what they've started to kind of do, I think they've kind of mitigated that issue a little bit more here lately. Is like if you get a different pass and you don't really want that reward from that pass, you can go and opt for a reward from an earlier previous pass, maybe like one that you didn't get, or something like that. I don't know if you have to have purchased the. Well, no, I guess you don't because you would
No,
already
because
have it
all
if
I
you
think
had purchased it.
yeah, I think it depends on the reward you're choosing. Because I think like in this last pass, you could select either the Wanda skin or the you could do like one of the paid Jeff skins or something like that from a past event. But to
Mm,
get that tier unlocked, either way, you have to pay for the pass. I think that's how it works. But there are some
yeah,
free that you can choose.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's I definitely get nobody wants to pay more for stuff. But I think that they've taken steps to try to kind of make that better.
It's funny. I was talking with Larry earlier, and Larry's like a big Apex Legends guy, and he was like, Marvel Rivals has ruined me when it comes to cosmetics in games because he's just looking at like and I'm probably going to get details of a lot of this wrong because I don't play Apex, but they've got their new season that just recently started. They had this like collectors event or whatever, and Larry was saying that like the main thing is like this gun skin that you unlock if you get the entire collection of stuff, but you have to spend $250 potentially to get all of the items in the collection in order to unlock this gun skin. And he was just talking about how $30 for just like a skin with nothing else just seems like a ripoff after playing Rivals and the value that you get from your purchases. And I don't spend money on a lot of games when it comes to microtransactions and cosmetics. I think as I've gotten older and have more money to kind of throw around, I maybe do it a little more. But Rivals, like, I never really feel bad when I buy something in Rivals. Whereas, like, sometimes I'll like buy a Fortnite skin and I'm like, that was kind of ridiculous how expensive that was.
And so apparently it's going to get worse. I don't know if you've read like how they're making some changes to skins and bonuses that come with them and stuff like that. But that's a whole different game. Yeah, I do think that overall, by and large, this game does a great job with cosmetics. So I don't think that anything. Well, sorry, there is one major issue. I'm assuming it's probably going to be on this list. Might be, it might not be. There is one area where I'm just like, no, bump that. We don't need that in this game, but we'll see if we get there.
All right. No, so you've got 4 and 5 left, and the next one I'm going to give you is the EOMM debate, the speculation, the conspiracy theories, the Xiong video to explain how matchmaking works.
I think I'm gonna go two with this one.
But yeah, four and
Well,
five
actually,
left.
four,
Yeah.
four. Yeah, that's what I meant. Four. Sorry. Four. Just because I do think that that's like number one, it shows how passionate the player base is, right? It shows that we're just in love with this game and we care about how it feels to play. I think it speaks to a call for transparency, and it also like kind of like allowed NetEase to step up to the plate because I think everybody can agree that they were super duper transparent about how they handled that process. They explained it in ways that I know that I didn't understand because they were using very specific vernacular as far as like the game building industry goes. So I don't know. I think it was important. I think it also was a kind of a pretty pivotal moment in terms of like the competitive community and people kind of wrapping their minds around this game and kind of like getting their bearings with it because it was pretty early on, like maybe what 5 6 months in
Yeah.
when into the first year of the game.
Yeah, for sure. Like, no, I think I agree with you on multiple fronts of that, but it was also the conversation that led to us like getting placement matches and competitive, and a lot of things that people had already been asking for. Some of the, like performance-based adjustments to the matchmaking scoring as well, stuff like that. So yeah, I think EOMM. It seems like you're kind of ranking these in terms of its impact on the community overall.
I think so, yeah, just like the importance to, um, the spirit of the game or something, the
Yeah.
heart of the cards.
All right. Well, then your number one, because you put that at 2, right? Or no, I'm sorry, your number
Yes.
5, you put that at 4.
Yeah.
The support strike.
Oh
So,
god. Oh god. That should I forgot about that. That should have been my, number 5. I don't think that that is, a big deal at all. I never really heard or saw anything of it in, like, real life with the game. Never really experienced anything other than just kinda reading about it and feeling dumber as a result of having done so. So, yeah, not a big deal to me, wish it was 1. I
yeah,
figured that you were gonna put,
the gacha.
I guess it wasn't the gacha stuff, yeah, I figured that was more of a controversy, like, enough to warrant the list. That would be my number, my 5, I guess, in a perfect world is because I think that that's pretty grody, kinda gross feeling, like, I accidentally participated in it. Not accident half accidentally participated in the Gambit and Rogue one, here if like, maybe a month ago or whatever it was, and just felt horrible about it, like, it just made me I wanted to take a shower after popping those balloons.
Yeah. Well, I didn't put the gacha thing on here as a controversy because I feel like it's just kind of universally hated. Like, there's nothing really controversial about it. There's no conversation that's happening. Like, people just don't want to see it, but it just seems like an inevitable fact of the development life of this game.
Yeah.
Going back to the support strike, if we're ranking these things on like the community impact, I think the support strike is probably pretty important. Not because of the support strike in and of itself, but because it led to a lot of the balancing changes that we've seen from this team over the
Did it?
last few months. Like, I mean, there was because the big part of the support strike was like we're getting absolutely like no help in the back line because it was like when BP was really strong and like Dive was super strong and people just weren't peeling for their supports. And I feel like ever since then, NetEase has been a little hesitant to like bring Dive fully back into the fold as a viable meta. And
Yeah.
also, it gave a lot of supports a lot more offensive power. Like, I mean, we got the invis buffs there. Like, I feel like Cloak and Dagger has gotten stronger offensively over patches because of that. Like, the supports were given more tools to deal with Dive on their own, and because of that, I think that's why it is was pretty impactful on the scene itself.
Hmm.
All right, let's move on and talk about our week in Rivals. Seth, we didn't really get to play Rivals at all together because we just played Arc Raiders, but I did play some Rivals by myself. I understand you did as well.
Hmm.
And how's it going?
Pretty good. I am a little shy. I was like maybe I was 1 game away, I believe, from Diamond One, and sank back down at the last minute. I'm like maybe 57 points into Diamond Two, so about 2 games away now. Overall, still I'm starting to kind of wonder if I'm gonna hit that milestone that I want to hit Grandmaster. I don't really remember too many specifics. I feel like a lot of the games that I'm playing at this point, like it's not necessarily any one or two people's fault with a lot of these games. A lot of them are just like so well balanced. When I get that loss, where I'm just like, like I understand why it happened. They just kind of barely outplayed us enough to make it count. It's not like sometimes we'll steamroll a team. Every once in a while, some stuff goes wrong, but most of the games that I've been playing have been really sweaty. We'll have a really great first round, and they'll come back and just totally decimate us in the second round, and then we can't like match whatever it was that they did. But there's a lot of back and forth to it. So yeah, I just kind of generally kind of at like what would you call it? Like not a stalemate, but just like a I don't know. It's late, man.
It's all good. You're just Sisyphus trying to roll that rock up the hill, but you can't
It's
seem to.
Sisyphean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I've been in a precipitous free fall, like Icarus, getting too close to the sun,
Mm-hmm.
to keep it well, I don't know, Sisyphus mythology. Sisyphus is more of
Yeah,
a.
yeah,
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I was in Diamond 2, I think, and I'm now almost Plat 2, because I've been falling so far. Solo queuing has been rough, and it's just been weird games, man, where it's like our team can't decide on a composition. Everyone's switching roles and characters and blaming everybody else for the things that are going wrong. And I feel like it maybe soft throwing in games I've been seeing a lot more of, not necessarily like throwing yourself off the map or just walking, at the other team, running it down mid, but just like switching to Black Widow, or not Black Widow. Yeah, Black Widow, or some other character that makes absolutely no sense, or a fourth DPS. I've just been getting a lot of that shit, and this is the problem I've been running into, Seth. Where it's like we'll win a fight, hell, we'll win 3 fights, and then we'll lose a fight, and then all of a sudden everyone's shuffling, scrambling around, thinking that we need to do something different. But then they just trickle to the point for the next 5 fights, and we lose that Dom round or whatever.
I will say there was a game today where, we rolled the other team, for well, I don't know. I mean, it was pretty competitive. They captured like the 3 points on convergence. Then we got to the 3 points, and we had found something that was really working. Like I was Thor, and there we had a rocket, and that works really well with dive, right? Because those little yellow balls are flying everywhere, so that lets Thor like really get into the back line, just kind of move around and mess stuff up without really dying. And we go to overtime rounds, and we had like twice as much time as they did. And the rocket's like, should I go cloak and dagger? Why would you do that? It was working. Like,
I,
it was enabling this huge part of our success, where like when character is able to get into the back line, like damage the supports, do whatever they need to do, get out, and like just it was working. So why change what's working? That's kind of the thing I think that loses a lot of matches, just in general. It's like people freak out too early, or they want to get experimental, and like you don't do that until you need to, until like it feels like you're running into a brick wall. Make a change and see what you can do.
yeah, and I don't know, man. It's where in a perfect world, I wish you could actually like have those conversations, right? Like, okay, why do you want to switch to cloak and daggers? There's something you feel like you're not achieving with rocket, like, or are you getting dove and just can't do the damage output, or what? Like, what are your reasons for wanting to switch? Because that's the thing that doesn't make any sense to me. Is like, it's not even that we're being successful right now. It's just like you're switching from this character to another character because you feel like you're lacking in some way in the composition we're playing. But like there's probably better ways to help. Like, oh, the Thor might be getting a little too far out. Just come back and counter dive a little bit or something like that. But I don't join voice because that's never the conversation that's happening, right? It's always just like, why's the fucking rocket go with cloak and dagger now? Like no real understanding of like the game state in the comms. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any like specific games that I had this week that really stuck out to me. Honestly, man, I just feel like I'm kind of in, and I think I said this last week. I'm just kind of in the season 7 waiting room, like because I think we're going to see I think we're going to see NetEase take a big swing on the balance changes, and I'm excited to see what they've got up their sleeve starting. I guess that's next week. We'll start getting details about season 7.
They should, yeah, because I think next Friday is the reset, right?
Yeah, so. Um, but yeah, I'm not having a ton of fun in competitive mode, just because I also feel like there's really only 4 viable healers at this moment, between Invis, Gambit, Cloak and Dagger, and maybe there's only 3. I mean, Rocket's not too bad right now,
Yeah.
but like, uh, And I get teams that are just like banning themselves out of being competitive. Like, hey, you can't really ban Gambit and Invisible Woman. Like, we need one of those at least. All right, Seth. Well, let's jump into the news. We've got 2 new skins that are coming out this week. The first is the Fear Itself Thing skin. I love this skin. I think this looks great. We got a little trailer for it here. What do you know about this skin? Is this like from anything, or is this just
Fear Itself was an arc. I haven't read this arc. I just kind of remember seeing it on shelves and thinking it looked awesome. So I like it a lot. This thing kind of reminds me of like I always liked like the Titans and Hercules, like the old Disney cartoon. It kind of reminds me of the look of one of those guys. Just almost like a big rock zombie gorilla guy or something like that. It's looks great. I think like anytime you have like that kind of black and gold kind of mixed up with each other, just looks crispy. This is yet another skin that's sold. I haven't had the chance to buy the cap skin yet, just because I've been trying to earn it through chrono tokens. But I feel like I'm just gonna have to buy one or the other because I definitely want this thing skin. I mean, I'm gonna have to purchase one with real money and then use my chrono tokens on the other, or my units. Sorry.
Yeah. And then we have the new Daredevil Born Again skin. Have you watched this show, Seth?
Yeah, I watched season 1. It was pretty cool. It was nice to like have that. I remember watching like the not old, but you know what I mean, like the original Netflix Daredevil show with Jessica Jones and Iron Fist and all that. I was a big fan of that series when it first launched, and so it was nice to kind of get that back and have it linked to the broader MCU. So yeah, I'm a fan of this. I'm not a Daredevil player very much, so this isn't really for me, but I appreciate that it's there.
Yeah. I like this skin. I think it looks good. I don't play Daredevil, but I have every other thing skin, so I'll probably end up buying the Fear Itself one. All right, Seth, we mentioned this during the viewer comments, but we have some updates on the bounty for throwing situation that we talked about last week. So, to get everybody up to speed, there was this Saudi millionaire who set up a website where he was offering bounties for people who've thrown games. So the way it worked is if you played a game and they threw, you could put a bounty up for them. Other people could co-sign onto that bounty. And then if somebody uploaded proof that they threw a game for the person that had the bounty, then they would get a cut of the overall pool of money for the bounty, something like 80% or something like that. We talked about it last week, and it was kind of a fresh story, but hadn't really fully blown up yet. But it got big, and it got the attention of NetEase, who put out not one but 2 statements, and are deploying a system change to combat against this as well. So let's jump into this. So they posted this up over on their Twitter. It says, "Dear rivals, we have recently identified a disturbing trend within our community: incentivized throwing, where players are enticed by third-party bounties to deliberately sabotage matches. This behavior not only undermines the integrity of our game, but also tarnishes the experience for honest players who are committed to fair competition. In light of this, we want to make our position clear. We maintain a strict zero tolerance policy against any form of malicious disruption. To combat this issue, we are implementing a specialized investigation protocol focused on identifying and addressing negative gameplay linked to these external bounties. Accounts found to be violating our policies will face serious repercussions, including but not limited to permanent bans. We strongly advise players against jeopardizing their valuable accounts and hard-earned progress for the sake of temporary incentives. Moreover, to reinforce the principles of fair competition, we have enhanced our regulations regarding negative gameplay. Accounts found to be engaging in disruptive behavior, such as malicious idling or intentionally throwing matches, will incur significant penalties following reporting and verification. If you encounter players who are maliciously idling or intentionally throwing games, we encourage you to utilize the reporting feature immediately. Your reports are crucial and will be thoroughly investigated by our dedicated team. Maintaining a positive gaming environment is a collective responsibility. Thank you for your continued support." So that was the first statement, Seth.
Big statement.
Big statement. And people were kind of like, okay, this sounds great, what do you mean by that? So they put out another statement. This came out yesterday. Dear Rivals, since the launch of our crackdown on incentivized throwing, malicious match losing for personal gain, we've received an overwhelming amount of feedback and suggestions from the community. Thank you for each point of passionate feedback. Our team is ready to roll out a comprehensive upgrade to our anti-throwing measures. Now, everybody put your listening ears on because this is where it gets interesting. Number one, active server-wide detection system deployed. We've implemented a brand new detection system across all servers. This system uses a combination of big data analysis and manual review to enhance the detection of malicious throwing behavior. Once violations are confirmed, offending accounts will face strict additional penalties. And then 2, ranked point compensation. To preserve match integrity, we're introducing the victim compensation protocol. If your match loss and point deduction were caused by a teammate's confirmed malicious behavior, the system will automatically restore lost points. You'll receive an in-game mail notification once compensation has been issued. We encourage all players to continue reporting violations, stay vigilant, keep fighting for justice, and let's defend the integrity of our Chronoverse side by side. Seth, a lot to unpack there, but what are your initial thoughts?
I mean, I do like the idea of kind of incentivizing, or I guess not incentivizing, but
Like compensating?
reimbursing, compensating, yeah, when this affects you. It makes me wonder, like, how effective this can be, like, because I feel like there are a lot of processes and systems in play to be able. You've got to catch the behavior, you've got to verify the behavior, and its connection to a larger like collusion effort out there on the internet. So I mean, I like what I'm hearing. It's also just a lot.
Well, and I think this is extending far beyond just the bounty situation and more into like
Mhm,
the root of the matter, which is
mhm.
every other game in Marvel Rivals is plagued by some sort of throwing, probably, and that's maybe an exaggeration, but um, I don't know. I like this response because it wasn't just Rivals coming out and saying "fuck the vigilante justice, fuck the bounty thing," but I mean they did say that, but they also said, "But we get it. We
Mhm.
understand why our player base has been frustrated and maybe we've let this slide a little bit too long, so we're going to step up our efforts in this area." And we've seen them do these sort of like upgraded moderation initiatives in the past. They've done this with like voice chat uh, as well. So um, like I said, I'm not a big voice chat user in Marvel Rival, so I'm curious for people who do use it if they've seen an improvement in the quality of the voice chat with the new sort of, because I think it uses the same process, right? Like data analysis, there's some sort of like automatic review that takes place after, and then it's manually reviewed by a human to like validate it.
Mhm.
I'm curious for people who use voice chat if it's made any improvement. I love this idea because I think it is really clear when someone's just throwing, right? I think it's an easy thing to like manually review and confirm if somebody just like doesn't shoot a shot
Mhm.
or, it's just often bumfuck Egypt, like nowhere near the point. Like, uh, so I don't know. I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I do like it. I just kind of wonder, like, what it looks like in practice. But I imagine over time, it'll definitely kind of like turn into something awesome. And I can't wait to just start making units whenever some of this stuff happens, right?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. Like, how often will the victim compensation protocol, which I think is really funny, like an
The
overly serious name.
VCP. Um, yeah, and I feel like it also kind of disincentivizes people from throwing because then, like, if you're actively throwing a match, you're actively also rewarding the people that you're trying to frustrate. So I think that is kind of a brilliant solution in that way. Like if you want to do this really crappy thing to this beautiful game, um, well, sucks to suck. Now you're putting literal money like in these people's pockets that they can use to enjoy the game in other ways.
Yeah, I do imagine they're going to see an increased number of reports for throwing
Sure,
coming
sure,
through
yeah, that could
as
be
a
a
result of
problem
this.
on the flip side.
But I think that's just kind of one of those that'll iron itself out over time, right? Like people at the beginning will get really excited about possibly gaming the system, and as they figure out that they can't, maybe that'll slow down. But Seth, this brought up an interesting thread that I saw on Reddit, and I want to run through some of these. So ever the steerer of shit, the Marvel Rivals subreddit and its mod team put together the Court of Rivals Judge the Throwers Units giveaway, an unofficial event where um, they put out this call and said, hey, for the next 10 days, we want the community to propose what fair penalties should look like for teammates going to AFK, people intentionally feeding, people stop trying. Think of it as a fair play council, and they ask these questions: what kind of punishment actually discourages this behavior, and what penalties feel fair to the rest of the player base? Let's hear your ideas. So, Seth, I wanted to read some of these because I think it was very demonstrative of how how can I say this? Most everybody who has ideas about what should be done in gaming should not be listened to. All right. So, and the fact that some people in here genuinely think some of these are good ideas is also crazy. So, let's see. Um, Problem: throwers, penalty, the real elo health. Throwers identified with evidence should be allowed to matchmake with only other throwers. Now, I like this idea. We've talked about this idea in the past, Seth. There's been games that have deployed these sort of like shadow ban queues where you just get match made with other people with confirmed reports. Do you like that idea?
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's kind of like what Arc does with like if you're kind of the player that shoots first in a match, it's just going to put you with other players who tend to shoot first as well, and you could shoot at each other if that's the way that you want to play. And you kind of have to work your way out of it if you want to play differently. So yeah, I mean, overall, this is not like a terrible idea. I feel like.
Yeah. And I think it works only when it's confirmed reports. Like if you've been reported and it's been confirmed that then you're going to get in these queues. Now, here's a counter example of that idea from Mr. Matt 13 that says karma based matchmaking. Make the like system relevant by adding a dislikes counterpart. Then implement a system that matches players with bad karma together, allowing those who want to have fun to remain in their own lobbies. What would you think about it being sort of crowdsourced like that?
See, I mean, if it were to be, I don't personally. It's going to get in my head too much to see a bunch of people giving me thumbs up, especially when it's like or thumbs downs rather. Like if you were to do this, I don't want to see the thumbs downs. I don't want to see the dislikes. Just give me the likes. Let me feel good, and then maybe do what you will on the back end with that data. But I also feel like that's just kind of giving your ops total control over like there's a lot of ways that you could just like kind of spam that. I don't know. I don't really care for it that much.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like when it's
I feel like
crowdsourced.
when it's literally based on your actions, sure, but when it's crowdsourced out to the people don't make good decisions very often.
Situation: target banning a teammate's hover pick. This is from Eleanor. Says the devs really should just make it so it's not actually possible to ban a teammate's hover pick. I like that idea. Love that
Hmm.
actually. But if they won't do that, the penalty should be not being able to vote for any bans in the next 3 comp games. You don't actually make good use of your vote, then you don't get to vote at all. And this is just a prime example of like the penalty is just way too harsh. Like,
Yeah, that makes me think of like weird voter laws and things like that. Like I don't know. Yeah, it hits a little too close to home with some of the stuff we're going through in America right now. So I'm not a big fan of that idea myself.
um, yeah, yeah. I like the idea of just saying, hey, if you're hovering over a character, that character can't be
Yeah,
banned. I
that
think
part that part for sure.
Yeah, they added that to League. I do think they'd have to add some sort of protections around that because like, how do you not just hover over some pick that you don't intend to actually play just to keep it from getting banned or something like that? So they'd have to figure some of that stuff out. But yeah, 3 comp matches where you just can't use your ban vote. That's crazy. 6 bans totally unable to be used by you. Especially because I have definitely accidentally banned a hover pick before. And sometimes, let's be honest, guys, banning a hover pick sometimes makes sense, right? Like, hey, I get that you want to play Penny here on Araco or whatever. I don't want to play into a Penny, though, because I'm playing Thing. I'm going to ban the Penny. Like, it has nothing to do with my teammate. It's just I don't want to play into that matchup. So...
Yeah, I mean, you should be well-rounded enough to like be able to play something different. Like you don't have to run that to be able to play a successful game.
So this person, El Rocky Raccoon, says the situation is the issues we all face, and then the penalty is whether it's on ranked or not. The penalties should be properly applied. Not everyone plays ranked, and it's just quick match is not a fair argument for those wanting to have genuine fun in the game. And then he proposes this: in ranked, you get a ranked ban for a week, a month, 6 months, then a year if you have confirmed reports. And then in quick match, the player gets sent into limbo matchmaking where they're paired with other players who also got banned from rank, as well as AI players to fill the gaps just to further rub salt on the wound. This also lasts for 60 days. What do you think a good scale of like ban links would be for people who throw? This guy proposes 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. That seems kind of crazy to me now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've got to start low. I don't really know what they are right now because I've just never had to worry
Well,
about
right
that.
now I think they're like 15 minutes or something like it, like, and it scales from
Yeah,
there.
oh yeah, I mean, I maybe like 30 minutes, and then I'll let it scale from there. Like, I feel like it should feel like you can't just wait it out, for a few and then go. Like maybe 30 minutes to start, and then kind of moving it up to 45, an hour a day, whatever it is. Um, but yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
feel like you should have to do a lot to be able to get banned
for
from a
that long.
game for
Yeah.
for a year, especially one that you invest like a lot of time and money into. But then again, some things are just kind of weird and ridiculous. So maybe like I think the punishment should fit the crime. I think that, and people live lives too. Like I'm a parent. I know Larry is a parent too. You've got cats and dogs and shit too. Like we get busy, things happen. Like you have to get up and leave the game sometimes like that happens more than once. And like, do you really need to like lose a year of gaming just because like you have a life in the physical world? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't mind losing a night of ranked, to a ban. Like, not saying personally, like I don't mind the idea of like you've been confirmed to throw in this match. You can't play ranked for 24 hours. Like, I think that's a totally acceptable line to start at. Like, hey, come back on tomorrow and try to do better. And scaling from there, I think would be like a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 1 week. Something like that. I think anything where you're banning somebody for a year, you're effectively banning them for life anyway. Like, because if you ban somebody for a year, they're just going to go start playing another game. They're not going to like set a timer on their phone to come back. So I don't know. Like, I get that throwing is something that frustrates people, but it's also, they didn't murder your mom or something. Like, let's be a little reasonable. They might have ruined a match that you played in. No need to take them out of the game for a year.
Yeah.
All right, Seth. Well, let's move on to our topic of the day. We're doing a little mid-season mailbag with a couple questions from our Discord server this time. And both these questions are from DC Brenton. And I didn't tell you this because I was waiting to see if he actually was going to come on the show. But Larry saw this question that DC Brenton asked today and really wanted to come on the show, but he was unable to make it. He was like, I just want to yap about this. I kind of wish
he's playing Arc Raiders right now.
I think he is too. So I think I saw him in the corner on my Steam notifications.
Yeah. Yeah,
But I kind of wish he would have, because I feel like you and him would be able to yap about this question a lot better than me and you will be able to. But let's
for
see.
sure. Yeah.
He says, "What are your favorite MCU films or TV shows, and are there any character costumes from that property you'd like to see brought to the game? Mine is the OG Daredevil costume from season 1 of the show when it was on Netflix." Seth, what are some of your? Let's start with the first part of this question. What are some of your favorite MCU films and TV shows?
So mine, I don't know. Like I feel like there's at least a little to like in just about all of them. I think if I had to pick just like a few favorites, I loved like Captain America and the Winter Soldier, that second Captain America film. Um, Civil War, I really liked that. Just like seeing like the kind of the antagonism between the two groups of heroes and villains. I really liked Endgame. Like at the time, I think it's not like a critical masterpiece or anything, but I think at the time watching that movie in theaters, it was one of the best movie going experiences that I've ever had. Just like the culmination of like 10 plus years of watching movies and everybody doing the same thing coming together in the theater. And I felt like I was at like a concert. Just the way that people were acting in the theater, just in a good way. Like, they weren't doing like the chicken jockey thing, throwing stuff around or whatever, but just everybody kind of there for good reasons, so just because they enjoyed the thing and just kind of like like viscerally reacting like to stuff that happened in the movie. And I mean, it was just kind of a thrill ride from beginning to end. I think that while it's not maybe the best movie ever, I think it was one of the best movie experiences, I guess. Like just like one of the most enjoyable movies that I've watched. I Other than that, I like Thor Ragnarok. That one was kind of like silly and fun, but also like really tied in and really kind of important to the overall story as well. It tied into a lot of what's going on with like Thor and Hulk. Those were important arcs going into the um, uh, Infinity Gauntlet, like the Infinity movies. And yeah, those are probably, if I had to pick, those are probably the ones that I enjoy the most. I've got a feeling that I'm gonna really enjoy like Doomsday coming up here soon, but could be wrong, could be a stinker, who knows.
Well, you are a big Doctor Doom fan, right?
I don't know about a big fan, but I just kind of appreciate Doctor Doom. I think he's a cool villain. As far as the second part of the question, or do you want to go ahead with your MCU movies first, or
Yeah, yeah. I'll talk.
all
I'll
one of
talk
them?
about some of my, because look, I've said this on the show a bunch of times, and I'll say it again here. I have not watched all the MCU movies. I was not. I don't do this show because I'm a particularly huge Marvel fan by any stretch. I do it because I just enjoy the game. But I do have some shows and movies from the series that I enjoyed. I do like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think they have a. The thing I dislike about MCU movies is they all kind of feel the same, and to me, for some reason, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies just felt different. Maybe it's sort of the like throwback soundtrack that's in it, and the sort of
I think it's the James Gunness of it all. Like he's like there aren't that many of those movies that like you can just like feel the director moving the
mhm.
strings behind them. But that's one. James Gunn has a very distinct vibe to it.
Yeah. I did see the first Captain America movie in theaters at a bachelor party that I went to when I was in college. Uh, yeah,
Bible college bachelor
yeah,
party.
Bible
Hell
college
yeah.
bachelor party, baby. Um, and I don't know if I particularly enjoyed the movie, but I did really like uh, the experience of going to an MCU movie. That's the only MCU movie I saw in theaters, I think.
It's
Um,
kind of a magical thing. Like I think that especially like those early movies, like because I don't think a lot of people had experienced like the scope of a story like that. Up until like people that might not normally go to see like a sci-fi movie or like a fantasy flick, were suddenly going to see these epic clashes on the screen. So
mhm.
yeah, it was a magical time to be getting into things.
Yeah, I could see why that was like a really what's the word? I could see how that was an experience that people wanted to have over and over again. Like I'm sure a lot of people got into MCU because of the comics or whatever, or because of their fandom of a particular character. But I think that there were probably a lot of people who just loved having this, like, these couple blockbusters every year to like plot on your calendar to go have an experience with, 50 to 100 other people in your theater or whatever. And that can be
Yeah,
cool.
and if you're not like a comic fan normally, like with written comics, then this kind of like fits the same niche. Like it's serialized. It's something you kind of have to keep up with. It's its own like continuity, and kind of gives you like these long stories to follow over time. And it's a little bit more of an accessible way to get into it than trying to jump in and read up on the X-Men and all the funky shit that they're doing.
Mm-hmm. And I do like the Spider-Man movies. I liked what was the one with Doc Ock?
Was that No Way?
Yeah, No Way Home. Oh, I did see that one in theaters too.
Was
So
it?
those are the two. Maybe that's
I
what
get
it
them all.
takes. Maybe.
I get them all mixed up. They are great in theater. Like I feel like they're best in theaters. I try to see most of them in theaters when I can. I forget. Maybe I think it was No Way Home.
Yeah, I
I
think it
forget what
was
the
No Way
middle
Home.
one was called.
Wait, wasn't that
There's
the middle one?
Homecoming. No, that was the third one. There
It's
was
the one where he's like
Homecoming.
laying on the bus in the on the movie poster. Um, Let me just
I
look
think
these up.
that's I think that's Homecoming.
Spider-Man movies, Doc Ock. Let's see.
You're gonna get several things with that.
Yeah, but this is the one. This is the one that I want. I think. Hold on. It's not showing any of the Holland the Holland movies.
MCU.
Yeah.
Spider Man MCU.
People are fucking yelling at their. So there was No Way Home. There was Far From Home, and there was
So
Homecoming.
No Way Home was the Doc Ock one. That was the third one. It
Okay.
was Homecoming. Um, Far From Home. That's the one where they were in Europe or whatever with Mysterio, and then No Way Home was the one with the freaky universes colliding.
Gotcha. I don't know. Tom Holland's just infectious on the screen. Like, you just feel his energy coming through, and I enjoy
I'm
watching him.
not the biggest fan of those. Like I feel like that's a big complaint that's often heard with those movies that like he does feel kind of like Spider-Man, but I think like his overall role as Spider-Man, like he never really got that like neighborhood Spider-Man
Mm-hmm.
thing. He's always just kind of been like he was on his first appearance was in an Avengers movie, like or more or less an Avengers movie with Captain America Civil War, and he's kind of just been there like in epic proportions ever since in some way. Homecoming was kind of low stakes, like low key, but like Iron Man's in there. You don't really see him just kicking it on the street level that much. And I feel like that's kind of where they're going with maybe this fourth Spider-Man coming up because, stuff happens at the end of No Way Home, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. Well, that's
People
probably also a result of the fact that, like, didn't they have to get the rights back from Sony to even do Spider-Man movies
yeah, but that was before like
for
even
20th
Civil
Century
War
Fox or something?
happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's been a while.
Yeah. But yeah, like the story of the MCU had already evolved pretty heavily by the time they were even able to do
Yeah, so they kind of just had to
Spider-Man.
insert him, kind of like they're going to have to do with the X-Men, or they kind of have been very slowly doing
Yeah.
with the X-Men over the past few movies.
I did enjoy a lot of that, like, first run of Netflix shows, though. Like the first season of Daredevil, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed, like, Jessica Jones. I didn't quite as it like Luke Cage wasn't quite as good as any of those, but yeah, some of those earlier shows I really enjoyed. I'm looking at this show list to see if there's any others that I watched, and I don't think there was, but yeah. What about the costume set? This is something I'm not going to have a whole lot to say about.
See, I don't really have that much either because I feel like a lot of the costumes are kind of samey. And like if you do go back and look at like the difference in like Captain America from like Avengers 1 to Endgame. That suit does change, but like, does it change that much to where you like with the to make it warrant a $20 to $30 skin? I don't really think so. If I had to pick anything, it would probably be like not necessarily from my favorite movies, but I think like um I don't know, maybe like the what is it? What do they call him? Night Monkey in that middle Spider-Man movie when he's in Europe. He's got like the black like sweat suit on and the goggles or something like that. It's supposed to be like a stealth suit. Um, and people keep like nobody thinks that he's Spider-Man. They think he's Night Monkey or something like that.
Mm.
Were you typing that in? Is that what it says?
No, no. I was looking to see if I
Okay.
was gonna. I was about to say something stupid for mine. I
Okay.
don't think I'm going to. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's the only thing that like really comes to mind for me, like is distinct. Um, Everything else I feel like, or most things that I'm thinking of, are pretty similar to other skins that we already have. And like I don't think I would pay for much other than that.
Hmm. I think the only one I can think of, and I don't. Logan is not. Is Logan technically an MCU movie? Like, is it in the?
In a roundabout way, I mean, at the time, no. But they've kind of like that was kind of a part of Daredevil or not Dare Lord. Deadpool and Wolverine is like like at the beginning of the movie, they do
Hmm.
stuff that's directly related to Logan. So technically no, but now kind of yeah. It's like in that kind of messy middle era
It's like
of like
retconned in
things.
by the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
essentially retconned
gotcha.
in.
Because the old man Logan skin is the only thing we were talking about that when they started revealing the
Mhm.
old man skins for some of the other
See,
characters.
that would be cool, but I feel like that's not the best old man Logan. I would want my old man Logan. Let me get my old man Logan out from my shelf here real quick.
Oh,
Just a little,
yeah, I got you. I'll vamp a little bit for you. He's getting it off of his packed out action figure shelf. That we need to ask Seth to do a um, like a tour of this shelf for us at some point. Maybe put it up on TikTok. Let us know in the comments if you guys would like to see that. Because I would. I haven't seen all of the awesome figurines that he has. He's got a ton though, and we'll ask him. We'll mention it when he puts his headphones back on.
I hope that you weren't talking to me because I couldn't
No,
hear a
no, no.
damn
I was vamping. I was talking to the
Okay,
audience.
good, good. No dead air. This is what I want out of an old man Wolverine, like the trench coat.
Oh, yeah,
He's got like the cool, like the hat, um, and like some nice boots or whatever. This is kind of the vibe I like kind of
yeah.
grungy
I
looking.
like that too.
Um, that's what I would want, and that's kind of more like what the comic-y old man
Yeah.
Logan looks like. But
I actually misread this question from DC Brenton at first and thought he was asking what characters from the MCU we'd like to see added to the game. So I did come up with a short list of those that I don't think I've talked about. But uh, Jessica Jones is a character I think could be cool to add as a tank, like a brawly tank. I think she could really
hmm.
work. Um, Gamora uh, is somebody from those. I was trying to think of from the movies the movies and shows I enjoyed. Um, let's see. I don't is the X-Men Apocalypse movie, is that MCU?
Mm-mm.
It's not. Okay, well,
No.
damn. Because I'd love to see Apocalypse. I love Apocalypse. I think he'd be a really great character in the game
Maybe
as
one
well.
day. Yeah, he's cool as hell.
And I also said Mystique, so I'm assuming Mystique's not showing up in the MCU either.
Not yet. No, the only one X-Men we've had Beast in a post credit scene of one movie. And then we've had like Professor X
And
kind of sort of
Gambit was in
briefly.
that Wolverine Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of other characters too, but maybe like what's her name? Xavier's well X ugh. If you're considering Logan to be an MCU movie, like now that it's been retconned in, what's her name? X2, like
Mm-hmm.
the young girl Wolverine with
And
the two
that's
claws.
and that's Wolverine's accessory in the game already. So
Yeah, yeah. So like kind of a little tease there. Well, what Charles' sister, what's her name from Deadpool and Wolverine? The bald lady. I feel like there's some cool stuff you could do with her, like with her power of like going through things and stuff like that. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Uh, so
Colossus. Was he in? Yeah, he was in the Deadpool movies. Colossus from the X-Men.
oh yeah, yeah, Colossus.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like we've got to get a Colossus, or Juggernaut, somebody like that. Just kind of
Yeah.
big, giant meat men, just
And
tearing things down.
isn't Colossus Psylocke's brother?
Something like that. Yeah,
Something like that.
sounds right.
While you were walking back there to your shelf, I was telling the audience to let us know if they'd like a tour of your figurine shelf at some point. That maybe we could post up on TikTok. Let us, show us what you got working there. How
Mm,
many
mhm.
figurines are you up to? Have you done a head
Oh
count?
God. Well, this isn't even all of them. Like I've got Amiibo. I've got a like a DC display. I've got some DC on here too, but I've got a DC display on like my primary bookshelf upstairs. I have it's got to be
It's more than six.
yes. It's I would go with more than 50 figures just on this shelf.
Mm. Yeah. Well, let us know in the comments if you want to see more of Seth's collection there. I haven't even seen everything that you've put in it, but I don't think.
It's pretty dense. Like they're kind of packed in there. Like, especially the first two like Marvel shelves, they're like arranged to be kind of like they're like charging at each other or like kind of like in the middle of a fight, that kind of thing. They're meticulously posed.
Seth is
And
so
then I got
close to
lazy on.
becoming one of those like Warhammer figurine painters that's just got
I want to be
massive
one.
battle
I
scenes.
I I want to be one. I just I, I can't paint well. My hand, I'm too shaky.
You got this. I believe in you. Then our next
It's also
question.
expensive shit.
Yeah. Then our other question from Discord, it says last year for the Lunar New Year and Spring Festival, they hosted a limited time game mode, the Soccer Rocket League game with Black Widow, Iron Fist, and Star Lord. For this year's holiday season, it looks like they are only doing cosmetics and a Times Square activation. Do you think we'll see a return of that mode? Related, there was a lot of improvement from year one to year two to Jeff, the Splatoon like mode, which just ended. Are there changes you would like to see to the Spring Festival game mode? And I'll extend this out, Seth, to all of the game modes that we hope to return this year. What changes would you like to see to those game modes to make them more fun and feel feature complete? Of all the special events, I the only one I did not play is this one, and it's only because all I heard was about how boring and not good it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it needed some fundamental reworking. I kind of struggled with this one too, and I don't really remember that much about it other than just like I tried it just enough to like get some rewards or whatever, and then dropped it like it was hot. So I think I don't know, like if you wanted to pour some more into it, maybe like I I don't know, like I feel like it just kind of needs like a top to bottom rework. I think like the Jeff mode had kind of like a pretty solid base, like it was just Splatoon, um, but with like a pretty simple map, not like much to kind of do there. And then they kind of added the classes, the different Jeff classes, into the game in year two. I think that maybe doing something more akin to like Lucio Ball, like maybe picking one character everybody plays as that character, and they have like a unique kit, or you can have like unique classes for that one character. Maybe you have a. I'm trying to remember what the map was like for this mode when they did it, but it's I'm drawing a blank on it here. Yeah, I just think it kind of needed like a top to bottom, like it needed a totally different feel from what it had when it dropped last year.
Yeah, I I like what they're doing with their special events, where they're kind of like soft launching certain abilities for characters. We saw this with like Thor and zombies. We saw a little bit of that with the Jeff stuff in his mode. Um, I'd like to see more of that sort of experimentation where they're not just dropping these characters with their kits into a special mode with special rules, but like I don't know if you're gonna do like a soccer Rocket League sort of thing, like I've been playing a lot of Rocket League lately. That game is good for two reasons. Number one, it's so simple it's stupid. Like the idea, like the concept of it is so easy to grasp, but mastering the concept is really hard. And so,
Kind of like soccer in real life, right?
yeah,
Like that's why they call it the beautiful game. Like
yeah.
it's so easy to understand, but there is a lot of finesse that goes into actually like doing the thing
hmm
if you want to do it well.
And part of the replayability of Rocket League, it's sort of you've never been a golfer, right, Seth?
Mm-mm.
So when you talk to people about golf, what they'll tell you is like you're always just playing for that next good shot. And it's so true, man. Like you can go out and be a shitter on the golf course shooting over 100, but if you hit one just pure iron shot in the middle of your round that gets to the green and sticks, that one shot out of the 100 bad ones that you had for the rest of the day just kind of carries you, right? And Rocket League's the same way. You can play like shit the whole game, but if you hit one good aerial, that's enough to get you to queue up for the next one. And I feel like you probably need to replicate a little bit of that feeling with uh, with this sort of spring game mode. But the other thing is the movement in Rocket League is what makes it fun. You're flipping, you're flying, you're boosting, you're going through here. I'd love to see them start to introduce maybe more movement abilities to characters as tests in this game mode. You know, we saw them like add the atom flight or whatever in this last update. Uh, I'd love to see them kind of soft launch those sorts of things in a mode like this, where you're trying to creatively figure out how to use that movement within this mode. That's then going to be folded into like the main game. That's what I'd like to see.
Hmm. Cool idea.
What's another game mode from last year that you hope to see come back? And are there any changes that you kind of hope to see from it?
Just kind of like what we said before, I would like to see, not necessarily the exact same zombies mode come. Well, I guess I would like to see zombies come back too, but with some changes, like some different characters, some different bosses. I would like to kind of see some, um, maybe not have it so repetitive, if that makes sense. Like so much of the same. Like
Yeah.
when you got into those like what Nightmare fours, Nightmare three,
hmm
four, you're just like on the same in the same square, just like slaughtering millions of zombies. And that was a little bit much. I kind of liked the if they could bring some of that early feel where like those, the first few levels you're like progressing through a map, like a special version of a map or whatever. That's kind of a really cool feel and a really cool experience. And I think if you can balance like the absurd difficulty of those nightmare levels with the kind of early fun of like a Left 4 Dead style, like you're going through this linear course trying to get from point A to point D or whatever, with some
hmm
stops along the way. I think that would be awesome. And of course, like then I would love iterations on that too, like we've said with like X-Men and Sentinels, or uh, somebody in like some scrolls or something like that. Like I think shit, I don't know. Like, my kids play this game every once in a while on their iPads. I don't know what it's called, but it's one of those games you see like ads pop up on like random
Oh yeah.
websites. With, like, it's like you have like people and you have this little scanner screen thing, and you've got to like navigate it around, and you try to find which people or objects or items are actually an alien in disguise, and
Oh.
you have to zap them. I feel like you could do something like that with some scrolls. That other game modes kind of like that too. Like Call of Duty has one where you're like, what's it called? Something object
Oh, prop
something
hunt.
or prop hunt. Yeah,
Yeah.
so something kind of like that, but you're like a scroll. Um, I don't know. I feel like there are endless possibilities with a universe like this, and that's part of the beauty of it.
Yeah. 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 I really enjoyed zombies too. I ended up playing zombies a lot more than I thought I would, and I think it's because I can be sort of a sucker for those like roguelites that you kind of just start over and over again, which is another funny change in just my gaming habits over the years. I never was into those kinds of games, but uh, like Balatro, things like that, got me into those mechanics, Vampire Survivors, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Something I'd like to see them add to zombies when it comes back is uh, one of the purest gaming experiences I think I've ever had with my group of friends is when we did that one Destiny raid blind, right? We were like, we're
I wasn't
going
in
in.
that with you, but I wish
You
I
didn't play that
was.
raid with us?
Not blind, no, I think I had already played it or something like that, and, like, I'd already jumped in before you guys had tried it,
Oh,
so I would
okay.
have tainted the experience. I forget, was it the first
I
was
think it
it,
was the first Destiny 2 raid.
yeah, what was it called? The one on
Tr-
the
was it tr-
Cabal.
was it Trials of something? No, I don't
No,
remember. But
I don't
uh
know, the one with all the purple and gold, like, you're on the Cabal, like,
yeah, yeah.
super ship or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Um
Leviathan, something
yeah,
Leviathan is
yeah, that
what it was
sounds
called.
right. I was thinking of Trials of Osiris, which is
Mm.
was a mode. But anyway, adding elements of like puzzle solving or like giving a puzzle element to the bosses that you're fighting. I didn't really like this first iteration of zombies where there were so many just bullet sponges of bosses
Mhm.
that you had to fight, and then the Nightmare 4 was just you fight two bullet sponges at one time. Like it just it got to a point where it wasn't really satisfying to play. It's like I've already beat Wanda. Is it going to feel that much better if I beat two Wandas? Like, so adding some of that where you're like figuring it out with your team, I think could be really cool. Like, hey, we have to stay, and they probably wouldn't go like full on raid because some of those puzzles in those raids in Destiny are insane. But you know, like we all have to stand on these individual platforms and shoot this way. Like, give us an element of like figuring it out. I think that could be cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, the best Destiny, in-game activities like that are kinda like a dance, I feel like, in some ways. Like, it's not just that you're like, you do have this big bullet sponge, that you have to whittle down over time, but you can't just shoot it, you can't just, slice into it.
Mm-hmm.
You've gotta, like, meet these pre-qualifications to kinda earn that, that rush where you're just like, "Alright, do as much damage with it as you can, hit it as many times as you can with your Gjallarhorn," or whatever. Yeah, I do think that this kind of mode would benefit from stuff like that a lot. I had played enough with you, to kind of get that Queen Slayer
Mm-hmm.
title that we wanted so much, but I would have enjoyed the playing a little more than I already did if there was a little bit more dynamism to the gameplay.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, and then the only other one I can think of is Battle Matrix Protocol. I'm a huge fan of like TFT. I love auto battlers. I thought that some of the ideas in Battle Matrix Protocol were really good, but just really poorly implemented. Like, I think there was just way too much reading that you had to do in a really short amount of time to understand what you were doing. I also think they didn't really have a good meta figured out because it was just a lot of like six healers or six tanks or whatever. And so there wasn't a lot of creativity there. So I think just coming back with that with a little bit more balance, a little bit simpler approach to upgrades and stuff like that, I think could be cool. But but yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any that we've missed, but those are the two that really kind of I if I'm logging on to Rivals, I'm mostly going to play ranked or some quick play. I've been playing a little bit of 18v18, but the only two game modes that have just completely snatched me away from those game modes have been Battle Matrix Protocol and Zombies. Those are the only two game modes that I've logged on exclusively to play.
Hmm.
All right. Well, we appreciate the questions that you asked us over in the Discord and stuff. We want to do these mailbags more often. Feel free to drop your comments, on an episode. Questions, they don't have to be related to any of the topics or anything like that, but just if you ask a question that we like that doesn't fit in a particular episode, we'll throw it in these mailbag episodes and we can answer them there. You can also just join our Discord. There's a mailbag channel there that you can drop your questions in. We would love to answer them there as well. But Seth, before we get out of here, what are you going to get up to in Rivals this week? What's your goal for these last 2 weeks?
We've got a week and a half. I guess it's just to kind of climb as high as I can, which is hard to do to kind of juggling that time with arc raiders. But We're gonna get as close. I think we're gonna try to get as close as we've ever been. I'm right there at like my personal highest at Diamond 1. I'm so close. It's just a matter of like getting over that hill, Kate Bush style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to just get back to Diamond at this point because, like I said, I've been in this precipitous free fall. I think it's going to take you and I playing together a little bit to avoid some of these variables, but I think we can certainly do that.
Sure. Yeah.
But but yeah, my goals are pretty simple. Like I said, I'm in the season 7 waiting room, and we'll have a ton of information probably next week about season 7. If history holds up. But until then, let us know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments below. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, and sharing wherever you're checking us out. Just remember that we appreciate you. And until next week, everybody, we love you. Good luck in your games. Good luck on the climb. Goodbye.